Hi, I'm Sarah Rathburn, and with me is Linda Fitzgerald. We're with Healthy Fayette County, and we want to have a conversation with you, a little bit of the activities that we've been doing for the last 6 months or so.
Thank you, Sarah. It's great to be here, and it's great to introduce the community to Healthy Fayette County. Sarah has brought with her some extraordinary data for us to all take into account. It's one of the reasons for launching Healthy Fayette County, because we know that we have some major health issues that we need to get under control because it impacts our economic viability. So, Sarah, I'm going to turn it over to you. Shock and awe.
Okay.
Please.
The data I'm going to share is with county health rankings and roadmaps. It's national data that gets deciphered down into local county data. And I want to share just some health concerns that came to light during some of this. Fayette County is 90 out of 92 for unhealthy counties in Indiana. It is preceded by Scott and Crawford counties, and those numbers tend to go back and forth between 90, 91, and 92. We were 92, so we're making some progress. Some of the top causes of death right now, according to the coroner, is heart disease. 59% of deaths for 2023 were related to heart disease. 14% were related to drug overdoses, and 6% were related to suicide. Some of the couple other things, complications due to cancer and respiratory failure is also high on that list. And what is contributing to those high numbers, especially with heart disease? We know that their adult smoking is very high in Fayette County. It's at a 26% compared to 20% just overall in Indiana.
Wow.
So that's pretty high. Adult obesity is at 39%. It's 37% in Indiana and 32% in the United States. So we're running ahead in adult smoking and in obesity. And then something that we're most interested in is physical activity. There is a high level of physical inactivity in Fayette County due to a lot of circumstances, whether we have paths to walk or safe places to go. But we're at a 30% for physical inactivity, which compares to the state with 26 and with the United States with 22%. So looking at those three factors, smoking, adult obesity, and inactivity contributes to our heart disease numbers for cause of death.
Yes. Well, as a recovering smoker who smoked for a long time, I understand how important it is to quit. And the sooner people quit, the better off they will be. But one of the interesting things, Sarah, is that we don't often think about how the health of a community impacts it overall, but particularly in our economic viability. And having just done an event on the 9th of November in which we had Tara Henry Madden and Maya Mickelson from the Indiana Arts Commission to talk about how health and wellness and the arts have an impact on how people see the community, particularly people coming in from the outside and the people that we want to move here, businesses, industry. They're going to be looking at the overall health and wellness of a community.
You have shared with me an amazing piece of data that you received from Carmel, and that starting out in building their health and wellness and infrastructure, that they needed to build a walkable community.
Yes.
I found that incredibly fascinating.
My understanding from Mayor Frank is he meets on a regular basis with the mayor of Carmel, who's been their mayor. His name escapes me, but he's been their mayor for a long time. And according to Mayor Frank, what the Carmel mayor has told him is that Carmel began to take off economically when they made it a walkable city. And they combined it with the arts. So there's a whole arts and cultural center. And they have made sure that there are safe walking areas, that each neighborhood has a safe place to walk. We have not done that, but we can do that. And it's certainly something that Healthy Fayette County should look at doing.
I think so, and building partnerships to be able to measure the landscape for our walking and our activity. I think we should talk about some good things that are happening, though, in Fayette County as far as health goes. That almost, or only 9% of individuals lack health insurance. That's wonderful.
Wow.
94% of adults and individuals do have health insurance. That's meeting a great need.
Does that include the Hoosier Health? Okay, so it
Yes.
includes through the state.
Yeah,
Okay.
private and state insurance. Also, there are very few alcohol impairment related accidents in the community. I know that we have had some in the last year or so, but those numbers in comparison to the rest of the state are very, very low. And flu vaccinations are very high. I'm sure we can thank our health department for getting the word out and helping people to make those decisions on, is that vaccination right for them? So those are three things that are very positive in contributing to our healthy community. Something else that we have done this year, and maybe you've heard of Healthy Fayette County, is we've had art strolls, and that was our initiative to begin taking some steps, literally join a movement to be able to move and experience downtown and some art activities within our community.
Absolutely. We are exceedingly blessed to have two great collaborations. We have a collaboration with the Whitewater Valley Arts Association because we know how important it is, how important the arts are to health and wellness. And people think of art as just kind of painting on a palette or a piece of paper, but art encompasses, I'm fond of saying, that life is art. And so there are many things in art: crocheting, knitting, just walking and looking at the beautiful murals that we have downtown. All of those pieces are art, and they tend to lift us spiritually and mentally and emotionally. And so we combined it with the opening of each month's public exhibit at the Art Association at the gallery. And to my shock and amazement, there were a number of people who said they didn't know we had an art gallery. So the art strolls did four things, and hopefully I can remember the four things. Got people out in downtown, got them moving, build a sense of community, of meeting their neighbors and bringing family and friends, actually meeting people from out of town who came and participated, and introduced them to the arts. And that, to our amazement, has been exceedingly successful. And people have stepped up. We put up a Facebook page, and lo and behold, we now have 430 members. Not everybody lives in the community, but they have some connection with the community. So we can add art, or both art and health information to that, and I try to do that on a regular basis.
Which you do very well. And if you want to keep up with some of the activities and just some of the positive momentum of Healthy Fayette County, you can definitely look at that Facebook page. You saw us the second Friday of every month downtown. Yes. We started between 6th and 7th Street, just depending, walking down to the gallery and coming back. We offered some incentives for taking the walk. Again, our purpose was to get people moving, but also to be able to stop into the gallery and see some of the wonderful displays that they had. Some of the projects that they had on display were, every month had a theme. So would you like to talk about those themes a little bit?
I'm not sure that I know what every month's theme is, but what I do know is that in July, they hosted the Indiana Artisans. And there were artists from as far away as north of Fort Wayne and as far away as down along the river. They were amazed at our gallery. The art gallery had over 200 visitors, which was they were really crowded in there. But the other interesting thing is, in Europe, they have street musicians. And if you go to the subways, and not just the subways, but the corners in New York City, you will find violinists or guitarists or singers entertaining, and they have a hat out, and you give them a tip. And so we attempted to replicate that, and we were fairly successful, I believe. We had the new Imagine Performing Arts Community Band. We had a quintet of brass, thanks to Lori Dickerson. We had from the high school, we had the high school jazz band. We had in September, which was Young Artists Month, we had a group of students from St. Gabriel's. And they were so excited and so well received. And we'll repeat that again this coming year. The other great thing we did was we introduced the Flash Mob with Tara Henry Madden and her sister, Carrie, I believe is her name. And they put together a group of people who came and just walked into the street. Normally you don't tell you you're going to have a flash mob, but we needed to do that to make sure that we had an audience. And what an audience we had. We had between 200 and 250 people who came to see the flash mob. The Art Stroll Flash Mob will now be a feature of Art Strolls in the future, not every month. And we have some neat ideas to do with that. And I watch them on Facebook. Those events draw a lot of people. They give musicians, dancers, even someone using a walker who was in the Winterfest flash mob just delighted me because I use a three-wheeler. And this was a woman with a regular walker, and she was right there, a part of it. So I think it's important for people to know that you don't have to be young, you don't have to be physically fit, and you can use a mobility vehicle if you need to, but you can be a part of it. And that's one of the most important things, I think.
Well, and we call it a stroll, and it's a stroll. It's leisurely. We're not power walking.
Right.
We're not trying to get from one spot to the next in a certain amount of time. We're trying to get downtown, enjoy the sights, the historical buildings, just to enjoy everything that we can to walk in those few blocks, and then get into our museum, our gallery, and see what our local artists have to offer. A very exciting thing that happened on our walks was a group of wood whittlers, came out every evening and offered, or every walk I should say, and offered lessons, just free lessons to be able to learn how to whittle. And they actually continue to meet on Monday nights. But we worked really hard at trying to get activities for people to do downtown, dancing, sidewalk chalk, some snacks. Again, the musicians that we offered. We had preschool art in windows. Thank goodness for our merchants downtown that allowed us to post that artwork from little Spartans in their windows, so parents could come down and see those pieces of art. We had a lot of proud parents and grandparents and young artists for those activities.
The strolls will begin again in April and run through October. They will each have a theme. The leadership group for Healthy Fayette County is very small but mighty, and we find that works well because we get a lot done. We don't have to get 15 different opinions and then, decipher them for 15 months. We just do it and make it happen. So we want to build those up, but we want to add to it. And if I recall, you and Lisa Felsman from Centerstone in Richmond did a question at each art stroll. You were stationed outside of the art gallery and got some delightful information. Would you share that?
I'm happy to. We had some boards up, and we wanted to ask folks about the physical, the mental, and spiritual health. And I'm going to tell you, we were very surprised because we posted a question, things I like to do to be healthy, and really expected things like jog, yoga, aerobics, and things like that. And the responses we got focused a lot on mental health and spiritual health. Bubble bath, someone wanted to be still or limit their time on Facebook, play a musical instrument, or something as simple as drink water or eat dinner in one night during the week. We also asked about hobbies, healthy hobbies that you have. Fishing came up quite a bit during our conversations. Concerts, hiking, going to the gym did come up with that. Yoga and water or swimming aerobics. And then we asked, what are some things you'd like to learn to be able to improve your health? Self-defense was part of it, but coin collecting and landscaping and drawing anatomy and body proportions, just learning so many things like that. Basic auto care, rock polishing. Again, learning to fish seemed to be a common theme, and I wonder if we had some walkers every month who were very interested in that. So we talked about, we wanted to get feedback on what people would like to do and would like to see Healthy Fayette County plan as far as events go.
Healthy Fayette County, and the reason I have my phone sitting here, however it's turned off, is that I always struggle to remember our vision. And our vision is to empower the people of Fayette County to focus on our health and wellness. For many, many years, I think we've been a community that kind of lived, I don't know exactly how to describe it. I've called it a cloud of disappointment, of heartache, of a lot of the negativity that we read online, of nothing good's ever going to happen. But there's a lot of good things happening. And there are a lot of people who are stepping up to make sure that good things happen. And when we're not emotionally invested in life, it impacts every aspect of our health and well-being. So if we can bring, and so people don't understand, because they will say to me, Healthy Fayette County, well, what's that have to do with art? Because they can't seem to make that connection. So I think part of the empowerment piece is education and helping people make the connections between their physical, mental, emotional health and other aspects of the community. I mean, just getting out and going to, I want to do something called Women on Wednesday. For those of us who are more vintage age, come together, do a little exercise, have a cup of coffee or a soft drink or water, and just share with one another. Just have a time of connection. And I think COVID and the lockdown, I think it was very, very harmful from the standpoint of isolating us. And it could be difficult. I mean, I don't mind not going out of the house, but that's not really healthy. The healthy thing is to get out on a daily basis and do something I enjoy. So I think if we can help the community get to that point and pull more and more people into the process, into the initiatives, telling us what they like, what they would like to see Healthy Fayette County initiatives do, building more partnerships. I mean, the partnerships that we have now, the collaborations are great, but we need more of those. We want to do something called Walk Through Industry. And so, well, let me back up on that. I envision 2 thermometers like we used to have with the United Way. And one thermometer is how many pounds Fayette County residents have lost in the previous month. And the other one is how many miles or how many steps have Fayette County residents walked. Getting the community invested, because that's an incentive. Drive by the thermometer and say, wow, look what we lost this month. So I want to see us do a lot of exciting things. I want to see us provide some of the things on the list, and we know that people are already working in that direction. But walking through industry, we get our steps in, but we also get industry involved. And we need industry and our businesses involved, because it's a collaboration with the whole community. If we're going to empower our residents to think about health and wellness, then everybody needs to get involved.
And I think it's a matter of being mindful, whereas it's not reasonable for me to go out and jog a mile. I can do a walking tour, and I can walk some blocks around my house, being mindful of the activities that I'm going to enjoy. Sewing, that is also something that is very mentally healthy and fulfilling for me, along with knitting, and everyone has those activities that they're interested in. I'll go back to fishing or basket weaving, or something that we can do with our hands that actually is not going to physically wear us out, but we're getting those endorphins from just enjoying the activity that we're involved with. And we don't have all the answers. We have some activities that we are interested in supporting through our walks. Again, young artists and our high school and our middle school artists, and celebrating them, and doing that on our art strolls. But we still, again, we don't have all of the answers.
Right. And we reach out to the community to get those answers, and that's part of the whole idea behind your one question piece at the art strolls. It was interesting because when I put out on Healthy Fayette County on Facebook, the Facebook groups, and announced the program, and I asked what would people be interested in, a woman said, and this is interesting because I participated in the Indiana Walking College this last year, and we talked a lot about safe walking. And she wants us to look at how we can have safe walking for people who have some walking challenge. And we certainly need to do that. So, you know, my whole thought is we find someone from the Walking College who particularly has a lot of interest and a lot of information on how to do that. Once we can look at the city and divide, or even into the counties, and divide it into, quote, neighborhoods, unquote, then we can take a look at how those streets are aligned. It has to do with infrastructure. So we need to be looking at, when we're redesigning or designing new infrastructure, we need to look at it from the standpoint of pedestrian traffic. And we also need to look at neighborhoods. There's a place on the corner of 19th and Indiana where the trunks of a large tree are up through the sidewalk. You could not walk there. Even a healthy young person it'd be easy enough to trip there. So taking a look at our neighborhoods and looking at them from the standpoint of making a healthy walking path so that people don't have to leave their neighborhood to get some physical exercise.
And I think that was an important project that you did with the Indiana Walking College. Just being aware of obstacles that certain audiences may or may not run into whenever they're walking. It's nice to have a graduate.
Well, the interesting thing was that the focus is on less vehicular traffic. And some communities are actually doing a day where nobody drives. They just walk. I'm wondering if we should try that in Fayette County. That might be a little difficult to do. But the point is that I never really thought about the environment and pedestrian traffic. I know that Richmond went to a pedestrian mall downtown. It didn't work, so they're now back to driving through. But I think we need to look at that, particularly from the infrastructure. And I was amazed when this woman brought that, pleasantly so, to the forefront when I asked the question on the Facebook. We do need to be cognizant of that. Advocacy is an important piece. We need to say to our elected officials what we want. And maybe they can and cannot do it, but they need to know what we want as citizens as it relates to our health and wellness.
And they have an open ear. Or I found
They
that
do.
they have an open ear, and there are several opportunities to talk with some of our elected officials.
Absolutely. We do it every other month with Coffee with the Mayor. And I'm not chastising and saying they don't listen. What I'm saying is, oftentimes I hear people say they don't listen or they won't listen, assuming that to be the fact, when in reality it's not.
Mm-hmm. And listening doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to take that action that you're talking about, but that they're listening and taking it into consideration.
Right.
And at those meetings, I think there's some thoughtful consideration taking place.
The thing, Sarah, that I hope people will take from this initial presentation, now that we're launching Healthy Fayette County on Channel 3, is that there are good things happening, and there are people who really care about the community. There are young people who are staying and getting involved and doing great things. We saw that with Winterfest. We see that with Celebration in the Ville. Mm-hmm. There are really good things happening. And some of it, can't be talked about until the ink is dry on the sheet of paper. But I would invite people to get involved with Healthy Fayette County. We put it out on the Facebook page. We do things in the newspaper. We have yet to put a banner across the street, but we might have to do that. Or get a town crier to let everybody know. But we want people involved. We want to know what they want so that we can look at the possibility of making that happen.
And we've looked at levels of involvement. Not everyone can jump in and attend every meeting, but maybe you just want to be someone who wishes well and spreads the word.
Absolutely.
About the activities and the initiatives. Or maybe you're someone who'd like to learn a little bit more. Maybe you would like to show up at those meetings and participate in some of those activities. So there are all types of levels to join this movement for Healthy Fayette County.
I do want to say something about a group that is so helpful to us, and that's the GFWC, the Federation of Women's Clubs, which is the oldest women's organization, international women's organization. And they have stepped up. Trish Habe, Peggy Likens, Sandra Likens, stepped up and been at every registration table and really been a big help. So I want to give a shout out to them for that. Because we the small group that we are as leadership, we cannot do it all. We can plan and initiate and devise, but we've said it takes a village.
So thank you all for joining us today. We look forward to talking to you more about Healthy Fayette County, Linda Fitzgerald and myself. And as always, please like our Facebook page and find out a little bit more about us.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sarah. Oh, they want to be sure and watch next month because we will have Tara Henry Madden as our special guest.
That's true. Tara has so much energy and brings so much to this community. We hope to see you in February as well.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks, Linda.